has.
You didn't know?
You can say we are the in crowd.
Acknowledge us.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Stadium Rant proudly presents to you the most electrifying wrestling show in the world. We are your hosts, The Big Show, with 1.5 wings. Shaking Big, the Nard Dog, otherwise known as the OTC, the Bernard Green, and doing it King Willie style, the man, the newest, and may I say, my favorite, no, I'm just playing, our newest co-host on the show, King Will. Gentlemen, how we doing? I'm just messing around.
I'm just going to send Elevator directly right back into your room if you kept that up. Not on a serious note. I agree with you, King. You're amazing. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good.
Yeah.
By the way, Shake, I saw what you did in that intro. I saw you. You ain't slick. You ain't
Oh,
slick.
on the left side, on the far side of the
You ain't
screen.
slick. You ain't
I
slick,
want to
dude.
see like how many people will actually say something about that. It's like I leaned
You ain't
over to do
slick.
something. I was like, I could see myself, and I was like, hey.
Dude, I saw that. I'm like, I'm trying to hold myself from laughter. I'm like, you ain't slick, dude.
Oh,
Okay,
that was great.
That was great.
I found a shot in the camera beside like the borders of our intro video for you guys listening on the podcast. And I was dancing. I was vibing out. I was making sure people knew I was there. Anyway, I think we got the intros and everything out of the way. It's been a weird week in WWE. Lot of weird things going on. Some good-ish situations. Maybe not. Some sad news in the world of professional wrestling. 2 unfortunate stories. Some breaking news that came through today. You may have already seen it, but I'm sure you haven't seen many people talk about it yet. Something happened between TNA and WWE. We will get into that. There is a new women's intercontinental champion, the inaugural women's intercontinental champion, Lyra Valkyria. We'll talk about her. Penta makes his debut on Raw, and there's some mixed feelings about that, to say the least. And Corey Graves, not happy that he's in NXT, and boo freaking who. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start with that. Since that's the first thing, that's the last thing I left off with, and it's not that like major news, but it's something to talk about. Professor, what do you got?
First off, I want to start off with Corey Graves. It was I knew something was amiss because while we were watching the first Raw on Netflix, he wasn't on the commentary team there, and we all knew with SmackDown as well, he wasn't on there too. And it was clear they were demoting him to NXT, which is kind of a bad move, as Corey Graves has been like the best commentator even during the dark days of WWE in like 2019. Like, he was one of my favorite parts of those shows was Corey Graves. He went on to social media, and for those that say that this is a work, you don't know what you're talking about, because it's clear he is not happy. His brother, I forgot what his name was, also messaged that he's upset. So those saying that this is a work and a storyline, there's a mirror in front of you. Just go stare at it for a few minutes, because this is reality here. I don't know what's going on with Corey Graves. I know he recently got pulled from NXT, which is never a good thing. And now with Pat McAfee going off again to do the college playoffs, if Corey Graves ain't on Raw that day, that show, there's a serious problem.
Yeah, no, that's not great. I mean, I don't know. I agree with you. It's kind of out of nowhere. It has to be backstage stuff with Corey Graves that is going on because on TV, there hasn't been a heel commentator like him since maybe the King, like to do it well
You
and
could
like
maybe
antagonize or prop up the bad guy and like give way to his point of view and stuff like that. Raw's weird. You got two babyface commentators on Raw right now.
yeah, you do. You do. It's weird. And going back to the better, like you could maybe make an argument for Michael Cole before they shoved him down our
Yeah, fair
throats.
enough. Fair enough.
You know,
When he was a heel, I
yeah,
liked
before they
Michael
shoved
Cole.
him down our throats. When they shoved him
Mhm.
down our throats in that terrible Jerry Lawler feud, you know, the one where they had Michael Cole beat a Hall of Famer at WrestleMania with the stupid
Singlet, baby. Yeah.
and wasting Jack Swagger that one year. Remember that?
Listen, say what you want. You can say it was a waste on Jack Swagger. I frequently changed the channel when Jack Swagger was on my television.
Yeah. By the way, WrestleMania 27, one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. One of the that's whenever we get to WrestleMania time, I'm gonna give my top 5 worst WrestleManias in my opinion. Spoiler alert: WrestleMania 27, it's gonna be on that list.
Yeah, I mean, no, 26 wasn't great either. The one in Arizona.
Oh, that one actually was decent. It's not the worst because I love.
If it weren't for Michael's Taker, that show would have been horrible.
Yeah, Cena Batista was okay too.
It was a little late, but yeah, it was.
Edge and Jericho was okay until we found out that Edge got hurt.
See, I'm not a Jericho guy. That's why.
I loved Jericho. By the way, Fozzy, greatest band of all time. Do not at me. Do not at me.
Michael Cole is still undefeated at WrestleMania. Wow. All right. The streak lives.
It will get ended by Bailey one day. I'm sorry. We're getting off track here. Let's go back to Corey Graves. That would be so funny. Let's go back to Corey Graves.
What do you got?
Well, again, it kind of sucked for Corey Graves, and I must admit, he's one of the, like you said, best heel commentators since he first debuted in WWE. Period. He was really good in NXT, and he was definitely good on the main roster. I can't help but to wonder, what's next from him. I think they said that. I think also too they said how he wasn't good enough on television. So I mean, if he wasn't that good, then what he doing on the main roster commentary in the first place? If he wasn't that good, I don't know. Help me out, guys. I could be wrong or something, but
yeah.
Corey Graves has been, has been pretty good. I hope the best for him, whatever he decides to do, whether stay in WWE or go somewhere else or take a break from the wrestling industry itself. And but we just hope the best for him.
And here's something no one else has mentioned. And I'm sorry, and then we'll go to King Will's thoughts here. When you go from the main roster on Raw to SmackDown to NXT, you aren't getting paid as much as you normally would. Like, I don't know how much the salary is, but I know, like, NXT, you're not getting as paid as much as the main roster. That's why a lot of guys were excited to go to the main roster. They get a pay boost, they get this, they get more TV time. That absolutely has to factor into why Corey Graves is upset. Because I guarantee, I mean, I don't know what his contract is, but if you go to NXT, you're not going to make as much as you normally would. But if he does leave the company, I don't think he's going to be released unless, like, he requests it. But if he does, say goodbye to Carmella, because I doubt that Carmella lasts when Corey Graves is gone, because they're together. And honestly, before like this happened, I completely forgot Carmella was still employed with WWE. If you know what I mean. But yeah, Will, what do you think of it?
I don't think it's the work. I think it's legit, and I'm actually going to make a prediction. Before summer 2025, Corey Graves will be the new voice of TNA, as they're trying to make it a more legit show, but they need an announcer to pull it off.
Ooh, I actually kind of like that. I really kind of do like it. I do wonder with the partnership how that will work, but could I see him in AEW? Maybe, but TNA makes the most sense. And with Genesis coming up, imagine if he's going to be on that show commentating. That would be so fun. Although, I mean, TNA, like you already pay for TNA Plus. Well, TNA Plus does not offer Genesis. You have to pay for it. It's a stupid thing that TNA does with their TNA Plus app. But if he's on that show, that's going to be great. It's going to be great. But I don't know, because Corey Graves is pretty upset right now. So who knows what happens with him?
Yeah, we'll see. I'll kind of kick this off, this next topic, and then I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be right back after that. But you know what? This is a good spot for a little tribute to Bob Uecker, who did pass away today. Unfortunate news that did come across. And the professor had a little something to say about Mr. Uecker.
Yeah. First off, my thoughts go out to the Uecker family. It really, really sucks that he died. He lived a full life, but Bob Uecker actually was involved in professional wrestling, and you may recognize him. Remember WrestleMania 3 and WrestleMania 4? He had appearances. Andre the Giant was with him. WrestleMania 4. Remember when Andre was choking that guy? That was Bob Uecker. And it's one of the greatest, like, every time you think Andre the Giant, one of the things you think of is him choking Bob Uecker on WrestleMania 4. I don't know why. His selling was just amazing. Like, you guys have probably seen it before where Andre's choking one of the, like, guys. That's Bob Uecker. And the way he sells it is just perfect. And I always lose my laughter when I see him get choked. I don't know why. But, yeah, those are his most notable moments in professional wrestling. I mean, it wasn't like a big thing, but I mean, he's always going to be on WWE WrestleMania history and Andre the Giant history, because that visual and that film, it's going to be played everywhere, especially with how big Andre was, including his hand size wrapped around his neck and his face. It's insane how big Andre was. But that's what I want to say a little bit about Bob Uecker. You guys recognize that guy from WrestleMania 4 and 3 when Andre was choking him?
I remember the guy was choking, but I didn't know that was him.
That was him. That was him.
Wow.
That was the peak of his time in professional wrestling. Was him getting choked by Andre the Giant.
Wow. My condolences to him and his family.
Yeah. He lived a full life, though. He really did. I'm sorry, Will. Go ahead and speak.
Now, my condolences to the Uecker family and his beloved Milwaukee Brewers. I remember Andre choking the guy, but I had no idea it was Bob Uecker until you brought it up earlier today.
I thought, honestly, it was Bob Barker. He looked like Bob Barker, like when he was getting choked, like, Bob Barker from Happy Gilmore and from The Price is Right. He kind of looked like him a little. I thought that was Bob Barker. And then I realized it was Bob Uecker. And I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. My friend had a funny joke, too, because he was a baseball fan. He's like, Bob Uecker was notable for 2 choke jobs, the Milwaukee Brewers and Andre the Giant.
Wow.
Because the Brewers are kind of chokers themselves in baseball. But, yeah, it's just my thoughts and prayers go out to him. He was a great commentator. He really was for baseball. He was really fun to listen. Did you guys ever-
I was talking with our good friend Tyler earlier today. All the legendary baseball announcers are all gone now.
Oh, yeah, they're all most of them are all gone. I mean, God, yeah, they're most of them are, like, the only announcer that I think is at the legendary like level now is Michael Kay of the Yankees.
Does Michael Kay have any ties to professional wrestling?
No. Well, his co-host Pete Rosenberg does, but no, Michael Kay does not. But hey, Shake, how you doing?
Much better now. Much better.
I could see that you were suffering on the screen here, and I'm like, oh boy, is he gonna like puke or something? And then I'm like,
no. Sometimes nature just says you gotta go. Why were you talking about Michael Kay and Peter Rosenberg?
Oh, we were talking about Bob Uecker. He was the commentator for baseball. I told them the story. You know when Andre was like choking that one guy in those clips? Like,
yeah, that's Uecker. Yeah,
that's Bob Uecker.
Yeah,
and that was the peak of his professional wrestling tenure. Was getting choked by Andre the Giant. He saw 2 choke jobs: the Milwaukee Brewers and Andre the Giant choking him.
Yeah, listen, Peter Rosenberg, great guy, big wrestling fan, New York radio guy. That's why when you said his name, I was like,
yeah, that's why, because we were talking about like legendary. Will mentioned a lot of the legendary commentators are now gone now. And I talked about Michael Kay as the last like commentator that you could really give that legendary status to now. I don't really listen too much to baseball. I'm mainly a Yankees fan. So if you guys can name another
Still got John
commentator.
Sterling. He's alive.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about John Sterling.
The Yankees win.
Oh man. Yeah, thoughts go out to the Euchre family. Just crazy.
My quick Bob Uecker favorite moment, Major League. He's just when one of the pitchers gives up a home run, he just goes, "Oh shit." Bob Uecker in Major League. If I know some people watching may be a little bit younger, have never seen Major League. Bob Uecker just passed away. Not only is he a famous announcer, he plays an announcer of the Cleveland Indians, now the Cleveland Guardians, in that movie, and he's absolutely hysterical. Like, he acts like this alcoholic who hates his job. The Indians are terrible, and then like they start to pick it up, and he starts to clean up his act and be a better announcer, and like he gets to actually kind of be Bob Uecker towards the end. It's really cool to see. So if you haven't seen Major League, go check it out. It's a phenomenal movie.
Major League is the peak of Charlie Sheen's career before he turned into a train wreck. That's my opinion.
I feel like, I don't know, he still had 2.5 Men after that, but besides 2.5 Men,
he was a train wreck during that time.
Fair enough.
I'm just putting that out there.
What else do we got? I mean, we got a little two bagger here with Mr. Jimmy Ross and Mrs. Tammy Sitch. This is a very professor centric beginning to the show here. Oh, it's all right. Listen, you know what? Let's make this a little news segment here. Okay, we got a 4-bagger here. Okay, Professor, you put some good things on the table here. The Tammy Sitch, Jim Ross thing, and a little Tammy Sitch news. Some unfortunate news about Melina, and some breaking news about TNA and WWE. I'll let the Professor kind of dive into each of those a little bit, and then we'll react off of it.
Yeah, so let's start off with you mentioned before Jim Ross and Tammy Sitch. Jim Ross was on his, I think, Grilling JR podcast, and he was talking about, the aftermath of what happened when his wife passed. Tammy Sitch, who's a complete train wreck and evil, we'll get to why in a little bit, she decides not a few months passing, she goes up to Jim Ross, it's like, hey, I could take care of you. I could cook for you. I could do this for you. And Jim Ross had the call. I'm going to pull it up on my phone real quick. It's the most craziest quote I've ever seen in my life. Where he called, like, he thought about it for 10 seconds and he's like, nah, I'm good. And then he's like, a piece of ass is a piece of ass.
Hey, Jimmy's got one thing on the mind, baby. Hustle.
Well, Tammy Sitch is kind of also the devil. So yeah, keep in mind, not a few months after Jim Ross lost his wife, Tammy Sitch goes up to Jim Ross. It's like, hey, I can help you out. I can take care of you. I can do this. Pay my bills, and I'll pay your bills. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Jim Ross said no. He thought about it for 10 seconds. 9.9 seconds more than I would have thought about, her coming up with a thing with that with me. I mean, I've lost track how many times this woman has been arrested for like crimes, but yeah. And here's an interesting thing too. I dove into it. Apparently Missy Hyatt, another winner in the professional wrestling industry, kind of set the same story where she had a fling with Jim Ross for 2 years. Missy Hyatt was a manager in WCW and ECW. If you go look up her, she doesn't come off as a Class A type person either. She basically claims that, after, 2 years, this is before the wife died, I was with Jim Ross for 2 years dating him, blah, blah, blah. By the way, she said that while Jim Ross was on his, in the hospital fighting, an illness. So, quite convenient timing for that, huh, Missy Hyatt? But, yeah, that's my quick little story about Jim Ross and having, 2 pieces of work trying to go after a little slobber knocker, if you know what I mean.
Hey, yeah.
So
Oh,
what do you guys
geez.
think?
I read the article where she asked the judge to give her leniency.
Oh, that's another thing I'm going to talk about.
I mean, I appreciate the lifestyle change, but she killed a man.
Not only did she kill him, man, but I read that entire letter. And by the way, there'll be an article on stadiumrant.com. Don't forget to go into Google and check the website out. It's crocodile tears when you read that entire thing. You killed somebody, and I've lost track how many times this woman has been arrested for DUI and other crimes. There was a span where she was arrested 5 times in 4 weeks. And you want to know
That's
why?
impressive. That's good stats.
And you want to know why Jim Ross declined this witch? And
Hey, listen.
the worst part too is in the crime when she's like saying, "I want mercy, please let me get out so I could, go to high schools and this and that." This is the same woman who once tried to blame Chris Candido, who's dead, that he's the reason why she's this way. This woman is a witch, and something else that rhymes with witch. Continue.
Oh, I think I know what you mean by that. Yeah, I think I'm following your train of, I think it ends in itch, like my nose kind of itches right now.
Yeah.
Oops, not a great lady. Yeah, I mean, listen.
Yeah, piece of work. I hope that she serves the entire duration of her sentence. People, she's going to claim that she's changed and all that. How many times have you been arrested and you've attempted to try to get change, and now you want us to believe you? No way. Go serve your time.
You know the old adage, 17th time's the charm, Professor. Don't count her out.
And the 17th time, that goes for the amount of years she's spending in prison right now. So I hope she goes all the way with it.
Hey, maybe after 17 years she'll be a different person, and maybe she'll find a new life. I don't know.
My question is,
she's still in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, why is she still in the Hall of Fame is my question.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of that, random little factoid, there's a International Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in Albany, and Kurt Angle was inducted last week. Shout out Kurt Angle.
Congratulations, Kurt Angle.
Congratulations.
Another Hall of Fame for the
Good job,
GOAT.
Kurt.
He was in Albany. I wish I'd known. I didn't even freaking know.
That would have been awesome. I mean,
Just to be there, yeah.
That dude's a living legend, not only because he won a gold medal with a broken neck, but how that dude is still alive with all the drugs that man's taken and he's still talking and walking is a freaking miracle. There's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people call him Perk Angle in TNA. That's how addicted he was. That they nicknamed him Perk Angle.
The minute he got moved to ECW, he was gonna go down the tubes. Not even his career, but mentally.
No. Kurt Angle was offered rehab and all that, and he declined, and they released him because they were afraid that he was gonna, he was gonna die while employed with them. So they let him go, and luckily he's still alive. I'm glad he's doing a lot better nowadays, and he's really funny too. With I remember the funniest thing on social media. He was his wife cooked up some pasta and he was twirling it up, and then he used scissors to cut at it being lazy. And then Kurt's lazy? I want a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. And then Kurt's wife was oh my God, it's the funniest thing ever.
She's how long are you going to use that? I'm sitting there thinking, as long as I'm alive and breathing, I want a gold medal with a broken freaking neck in wrestling. Okay? Okay, another social media thing with Kurt Angle, his daughter cut the John Cena promo on him. He was in his driveway and he did his part, and then the garage door opened and his daughter came out as John Cena and slapped him. It was so funny. She's 8 or 9 years old. It was hilarious. It was so good. Dude, Kurt Angle's the GOAT. I love him.
I wish that they had his retirement match not be against Baron Damn Corbin.
He wanted Cena, but Vince said no.
No, but we got Cena versus Austin Theory, another wasted match, another wasted wrestling. No offense to Austin Theory, but looking back at it now, him beating John Cena was an absolute waste.
Who did Cena get at 35?
Well, I think it was Austin Theory, was it?
No, Theory was 39.
Oh, Theory was 39. That's a good question. Who, what,
Wasn't that when he came back as the Doctor of Thugonomics and lost to
might have
Undertaker?
been with Elias.
Oh, it was Elias. Are you kidding me? You mean to tell me we got Kurt Angle versus Corbin and Cena versus Elias instead of neither of those two on the show? Sorry, Corbin. And instead of Cena versus Angle? Yeah, fuck Vince McMahon. Fuck Vince McMahon. He's an asshole. He doesn't see the vision.
And he ruined.
God.
And Elias never recovered after that WrestleMania too.
Because why would you do that to him? That's so bad.
I mean, like, I loved Elias. I wanted him to win the Intercontinental Championship that one time he challenged against Seth Rollins, but they didn't have him win. And God, another wasted opportunity. Thanks, Vince. I hope you lose all your money in the settlements you're gonna pay. Yeah, let's move
only
on.
a couple mil, but Melina, Professor, what's going on?
Well, Bernard will probably know a little more about this than King will. I'm just going to mention this quickly, and I'll get their reactions because I don't want to waste our times with us talking here, and I want to share the wealth. Okay, I mean we got royalty here in the bottom right. Hold on the bottom right corner here. If I'm pointing, I need to get some royalty to speak up. So of course what happened was, in the LA fires have been going on. And again, my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who's affected by this. And it's terrible what's going on over there. It was reported that Melina was missing at the time, which is terrifying to hear. In the middle of a wildfire, people don't know where she was. And apparently she had a house there. And people were worried for her safety. And I was too when I heard the tweet. And luckily she's all good and like safe. She isn't dead, but I don't know if she's injured or not, but I'm just glad she's safe. She's good. But there was a time there where people didn't know where she was and they were worried about her.
That's crazy.
It is
Yeah.
insane. Go ahead, Bernard.
Yeah, I read up on that story, and I think someone contacted Melina. I think a wrestling promotion or someone that's close to her, and she responded that she's okay. I'm glad she's okay. I think, well, first of all, is Melina from the Golden Era or the Attitude? Not the Attitude Era. She's from the Golden Aggression era.
Ruthless Aggression era. I'm gonna say.
She's
she was,
my favorite.
Part of Eminem.
Yeah, Eminem. Yeah. She's my favorite one from that era. I like Melina, and I'm glad she says she's one of the best best WWE women of all time, and I'm happy she's okay, and hopefully she needs to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Maybe not this year coming, but next year.
Yeah, I agree. Even though she didn't really come across well when she kind of cheated on John Morrison with Batista, if you've heard that story.
You heard that was a work.
No, it was reality. It was reality. Apparently, Johnny Nitro is going to get a push from Vince McMahon, and apparently Melina cheated on him with Batista, and Vince saw that as kind of weak, and Morrison lost his push. Yeah, it was reality. Vince is a piece of shit. Vince is a piece of work. He really is. He really is.
Boo boo caca. Will, you got anything on this?
I'm glad Melina's okay. I wish we could see her entrance one more time. I used to love the way she would enter the ring when she was part of Eminem. But I'm really glad to hear she's okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody and their daddy like the way how she come to the ring.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, like the cameras that are being taken all the time, like the bright lights. I mean, it's kind of distracting sometimes. What do you mean? Like, is that what you mean by distracting?
That's not what we meant by distracting.
JC Kurt, amen. JC know what I'm coming from. JC know exactly where I'm coming from when I said what I said.
I have no idea.
Booty cheeks were out every Friday night, and you could count on that, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, you mean the split? That's what you mean.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I thought you meant like the flashes from the cameras.
No.
Big news in the professional wrestling world today, gentlemen. TNA and WWE inked a little deal that no one's really surprised about. I think we've been seeing this coming for a long time. Writing's been on the wall. They got a little bit of a partnership going. NXT Superstars. They have a transfer portal of their own of sorts.
I agree. You know
If
what? I
could
like this.
start,
Go ahead.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
go ahead,
Will.
King Will.
I actually happen to be watching Impact at the moment as we're recording the show, and they just did a 5-minute segment showing different WWE stars, different TNA stars. They made it look like Julia and Jordan Grace are going to have a feud coming up here pretty quick. I think it's huge news. It's a sign that Vince McMahon is no longer in charge. When Vince was in charge, he never would have dreamed about a wrestler from another company showing up on WWE.
Well, that's not true because in the 1995s, AAA and WWE had a working relationship, and Smoky Mountain Wrestling also had. I think Smoky Mountain Wrestling also had a match at one of the Survivor Series matchups, if I remember correctly, where the Rock and Roll Express faced off against the Heavenly Bodies. I don't remember if it was 94 or 95, if I remember correctly. So Vince did work with other promotions. I didn't think this would happen with TNA once in my lifetime. And I don't know if you guys will agree with me on this or not. Will, you probably will. I think this is more of a forbidden door than AEW and New Japan working together.
Oh, absolutely. I think they did it more. I don't mean to sound judgmental, but I think they did it more as a favor to TNA than NXT. NXT is already more popular than TNA. TNA needs a boost if they're going to stay on TV.
Yeah, well, I still don't know how this really benefits TNA. I mean, they aren't WWE. Like, they don't need to do this. And let's be real, Jordan Grace, when that contract comes up, she's going to be WWE bound permanently. When Joe Henry's contract's up, he's going to WWE. When, all these guys are going to be going there. So maybe this working relationship will help, try to keep them in TNA for the time being. But yeah, TNA is like kind of rubbed me the wrong way the moment they threw Scott D'Amore out. And there's rumors Scott D'Amore was behind the scenes in AEW, so we might get Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling and AEW to do another partnership themselves as well. But TNA, this had to be done for TNA. I mean, really, their top stars were going, and this could be a benefit for WWE NXT too, because it could give them, time to go on to TNA, more TV time, more this, more that. And only time will tell to see how it gets done, but I think you guys will agree with me. I think Joe Henry's going to be number 2 in the Rumble now.
Well,
That'd be sick.
Yeah. I think he's going to be.
I was kind of 50-50 about it, but with this relationship happening and the Royal Rumble around the corner, Joe Henry, I think he's going to be number 2. And do you believe in Joe Henry? I'm just wondering. Do you believe in him?
I believe in Joe Hendry.
I do. Do you, Bernard?
Yeah, I believe in Joe Hendry. He's all right. First of all, back to the TNA NXT.
I'm sorry, I had to. We mentioned Joe Hendry. I had to ask if you believed in him or not.
Everyone look around, see if he appeared. We said his name a lot.
By the way, chat, go ahead and comment right now in the comment section. Do you believe in Joe Hendry? And if so, why? Go ahead.
I believe in Joe Henry.
Oh my gosh, shit! You got that song in my head. See, that's why I'm afraid. You got that song in my head. It's like that song, man, and it's like the way he turn around and do that goofy ass smile. I'm like, oh my god, just like that.
Is this heat because I got you to say yes to giving away the painting? Is this why you're giving me heat right now? Because I will come back. No, I'm kidding. I love you, Bernard. I love you, Bernard.
Yeah, but serious note, I happy for TNA NXT. I think this is like the new way of what you call it, of opening the door of wrestling. I don't know what's so funny, guys.
Casey's clipping my Joe Hendry thing, man.
Well, that's getting clipped.
Hey, it might go
That's
viral.
why.
I don't know. That turn and smile was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I guess I happy for TNA and in NXT. I think from Vince's point, Nicholas, I think the reason why he don't like it that way, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I might agree with me, but when he was coming up in the ranks of wrestling and he was watching his dad how to run the business, and it's like they had like these territories back from the documentary, So Vince McMahon decided he wants to think outside the box by taking over all the territories, and then being that he's taking all the territories. It's like I think at the time when he was running things, he didn't like the idea being that he just take over, being that he made WWE global. Um, I think that's the reason why he wasn't too open of it. But then you got Triple H, which kind of, if you look at it, opening that door again in a way of way of change. And I like the idea. Maybe it could help not only NXT but TNA wrestlers get to the main roster to WWE where they probably don't have to go to NXT once they sign with WWE. And I think it's a great thing for both promotions.
Bernard, you're right in saying Vince McMahon doesn't really like to he wanted to monopolize everything, but this is the first, like I mentioned this previously, this is the first time he's really worked with another company since the mid 90s, because business was bad at that time. WCW was on the rise and WWE was desperate. And in the, I mentioned about one of the Survivor Series, he worked with Smoky Mountain. The I believe it was 96 Royal Rumble, or 96 or 97, if I remember correctly. A lot of AAA wrestlers, like Mil Mascaras was one of them, was in the Rumble because they didn't really have a great roster at the time, and they were they needed to fill in stuff, and the relationship with AAA was sort of done there. It was brief, I think it was a few years, but it wasn't a long-term thing. And but yeah, this is big. This is very, very big. Something I never thought would ever happen if you were to ask me 3 years ago. Maybe 4 years ago. Heck, maybe even 10 years ago, because TNA was trying to go after WWE. And their biggest...
Is it possible long-term, thinking long-term picture, it's really just the first step in WWE taking in TNA?
I could see that. It depends on what the ownership in TNA wants to do. If they want to sell to them. Could it happen? Maybe. But if TNA does get sold to WWE, I don't think it will operate as their own promotion itself, because they don't really need a fourth promotion. But I will say this as well. With this working relationship, you got to put AJ Styles in the TNA Hall of Fame. You have to do that.
And you know what else can happen? The Hardys can win the NXT Tag Team Championships.
Ooh.
The Tag Team Triple Crown.
Should be in the Rumble.
As who? Well, I don't know if Dolph Ziggler will be at the Royal
What's
Rumble.
his name? Okay, wait, hold on.
Nemeth might be.
Yeah, Nick Nemeth might be in the Rumble.
Not Dolph Ziggler. Nick Nemeth will be in the Rumble. Or that. He could use multiple names like Mick Foley. JC, you could be right there.
The many faces of Ziggler.
Oh God, imagine if he does that, and then he goes and he cuts it should have been me, and then he comes out as Dolph Ziggler.
So here's my take on this NXT TNA stuff. This is a build on the Raw and Netflix expansion of professional wrestling. Not only did last Monday professional wrestling get the biggest platform they've ever had in the history of the business, now TNA, a floundering company, has a chance to incorporate upcoming generational talent into their show. You say you don't see how it benefits TNA. I think it's a huge rub to TNA. I think it's the only reason TNA still has the damn doors open. Like King Will said, they need a reason to stay on TV. This is just so good for professional wrestling all around. And maybe they have some bangers and some indie guys and gals see those matches on TNA and they don't just notice the WWE person, but they see the TNA person and be like, okay, that's someone I'd like to get involved with. Like, that's someone I see going to the top. Like, it's just that type of stuff, and not everybody's going to fit the bill. I get that. But it's just the opportunity that's now being presented that was never there before, and we're begging for Forbidden Door stuff. People talk about Will Ospreay versus Seth Rollins. We're closer to that now than we ever have been. Now, do I think AEW and WWE will link up by the time those two are still wrestling? No, probably not. But what I'm saying is this is a sign of things to come in the far future, that professional wrestling isn't going to be as secluded as it once was. I think it's now international rubs with understanding that WWE is that top dog, and we're here to notice potential upcoming talent while giving you a rub at the same time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, considering Vince was very closed border, kind of no involvement, Switzerland neutral type of deal. Like, we're not dealing with anybody else. So Triple H's open-mindedness really shines through here. And it doesn't other times, but I'll get to that.
I just got an idea. I got to get the professor's thoughts. Now that we have this deal, we're watching NXT one Tuesday night, and God forbid Tessa Blanchard walk down that
please,
ramp.
they better not. They better not. They better not.
Why she's even back in the first place?
Why she's even back in the first place, I have no freaking idea. This woman is toxic. Like, she's so toxic, like the toxic candy, like that you would get at a store. Like, she's the toxic level. The toxic candy is way less toxic, if you know what I mean. Like, Call of Duty players sometimes get toxic. Tessa Blanchard is worse than them.
That's saying
worse.
Something.
And that's saying something.
I cast Call of Duty. It's not very friendly in there sometimes.
Oh God, yeah, I go on there, and you know, like it's crazy. These people, like the amount of stuff they say is just insane. But Tessa Blanchard, could I see her appear in NXT? Yes, but let's be real, I'd be shocked if she lasts the year in TNA. And I hope she's grown up, and I hope she's learned, because this is her last chance. Because she did not leave well in Women's of Wrestling. She messes this up. Bye-bye. See you later. Goodbye. Out the door. And one last thing.
New York came through right there. I like that.
Sorry. No, but
out the door.
Out the door. Yeah. Something interesting too is, you know how I mentioned TNA has a Genesis show coming up? I just looked up on my phone. I don't know if this was out or not. Apparently NXT is now part of it now.
Yes, that's what they announced tonight.
Yep. Okay, so it is true. That's interesting now. I wonder what NXT talent will show up at that show. So it'll be interesting to see.
I just came up with the worst tag team of all time as far as toxicity. You put Tessa Blanchard and Jada Parker together.
Oh my God. I'm staying away from that.
I think we'll leave that at a boom.
I'm not even gonna respond to that.
To brighter, shinier news. Speaking of shinier, there's a brand new championship in WWE, and there's a brand new champion holding that strap in WWE, and we said it needed to happen since we heard it was gonna happen. Lyra Valkyria, the Irish lass, gets it done. She is your first ever women's intercontinental championship. And while I have to admit Dakota Kai winning wouldn't have been the worst thing in the planet, but the right decision was Lyra Valkyria. We've talked about Becky Lynch and her going back and forth because they did in NXT, and that was awesome. I'd love to see that on a main roster level where they actually have time to work, and that would be awesome. Lyra, she's already getting over with a dumb woo chant. Every time like the beat drops, it's like dun 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 ba, ba, and it's like they go woo, woo, and it's like it's cool. It's cool. She's already over. I thought it was going to take longer for her to get over just because her personality isn't anything that's like super overwhelming or that's super engaging. She's just really talented in the ring, a really good person. She makes you want to believe in her and root for her. She's really cool. I'm a big Lyra Valkyria fan. I'm pretty sure everyone in this call right now is a big Lyra Valkyria fan. Well done, WWE. Should have been done last week. But I mean, this is the one thing I have to say, and then I'll let you guys go. Brand new title, brand new platform. You don't want to put it in the middle of the show on the debut on Netflix, which would have been the perfect spot, by the way. But no, you're going to bury it on a Monday most people will forget about because it's the Monday after the debut on Netflix, and it's still in the middle of the show. It's not even the main event. It's a brand new title, guys. Does anybody care that it's a brand new title? Oh, it's the women. Nobody really cares. You know what? There's a lot of women's wrestling fans. Two of my top favorite wrestlers of all time are female, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. And Lyra could climb that list very quickly. But you don't want to put her in the main event. So why are people going to care about her? Because you don't think we should. If you don't put them in that spot, people will not believe in them the way they should. Not that this is consistently main event, but that should have been main event.
Or why not have them as the opener?
Fine. That's great too. I would have been fine with that because what do we say? If you're not the main event, you want to open. You want to kick off the show, set the tone. That's not as good, but it's second best. Being in the middle, you're a filler. And the brand new title should not be a filler. Okay, so the Women's United States Championship was in the middle of Saturday's main event. Big show. That's fine. It wasn't in the middle of a show on the first 3-hour episode of SmackDown. It was not. It was treated in higher regard. And I love Chelsea Green. I've praised her on this show. But to not give Lyra that same platform is ridiculous.
You want to know what else is ridiculous? JC in the chat. I mean, did you just see what shake?
Rough me up. Rough me up.
Why would you want to get beaten up by her?
You don't worry about what I like.
Yeah, but like, come on, dude. Like that's
you keep your eyes out of my bedroom, sir.
What are you talking about? Okay, going back to Lyra. Guess who called her winning the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament?
Me.
No. First.
I think they got it wrong.
I called it first. No, JC. No, I do not. But Will, no, they didn't get it wrong.
Yeah, hold on. Hold the presses. Will, they got it wrong?
They got it 1,000% wrong.
You Will, are you on some sort of like medication right now?
Let's go back to
blink twice if you're in trouble. He didn't blink. He believes it. Oh my God. Will, take me through it. What did they do wrong?
That belt is around the wrong girl's waist.
No, it's not.
No. Well, who should it be in?
Kai has shown up since NXT, done everything they have asked her to do through injury, illness, personal loss, day in, day out, day in, day out for years. So instead of rewarding her, you give the belt to Lyra Valkyrie, who's now going to feud with Becky Lynch, when Becky Lynch should be feuding with Liv Morgan, and Lyra Valkyrie should be feuding with Rhea Ripley. They just screwed the whole picture up.
I do agree with you, but I think what's going to happen is this, Will. I think that when Becky returns, she's going to feud with Liv Morgan, and then Becky's going to move on to Lyra. That's what I think's the plan here.
Something to get her going and then
something
go after her title.
Something to get Becky going, because when she comes back, I even said this when I wrote my article, Becky Lynch is resigned. Now what? You either start with Liv Morgan, which I think you gotta, and then you move on to Lyra Valkyria.
But it's like me and you talked about the other day. Since Raw debuted on Netflix, not one heel has won.
And that's another problem. But let's be real, Dakota Kai isn't a heel. Like, she really isn't a heel.
Damage Control isn't a heel faction anymore.
Yeah. Honestly, like, Damage Control, have they really done anything that's been
They about to
reminiscent
break it
of
up.
War
No.
Games?
EO had a world title match.
Great. Wonderful. What else?
Then they wrote they write Kyrie off of TV.
Oh yeah,
Then-
she's injured. I forgot about that.
Yeah, she's injured. Then Dakota Kai lost, which leaves when Asuka comes back to the Royal Rumble, and she is. And by the way, she's doing wonderful, guys. I saw her page, she's tweeting away, guys. Asuka, if you see this, love you. Can't wait to see you back. And cause havoc and see you spit miss on somebody's face, or whatever. But anyway, my prediction is with this Damage Control situation, I think she's gonna come back. And she's going to either turn on the rest of the Damage Control members, or she's going solo. I don't know if she's coming back as a face or she's coming back as a heel. All I know is she's coming, and also too, I think she's coming back for a championship. Because let's not forget, every year she has a title underneath her waist, whether it's a world title match, or a WWE Women's Championship match, or a tag team championship title. I don't know. She's coming back. She's going to have another title on her waist in the year 2025 again.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that, especially with the mid-card title. I wouldn't be shocked if she takes the title off of Lyra when the time comes. I do believe she will be back at the Royal Rumble, but I think she's going to probably have a feud with Damage Control. Maybe. I mean, who knows? I trust Triple H when it comes to her.
What do we think about Bayley or Roxanne?
Oh, I think like Bayley going back to NXT for Roxanne. Roxanne has nothing to do in NXT since she lost that belt. And I think she's going to be called up this year. It's pretty obvious. But if they want to wait a little bit, Bayley's got nothing better to do on the main roster. I mean, she really doesn't. So her going down to NXT, facing against Roxanne Perez, which, oh, by the way, is a match I've kind of wanted to see for a while. I think that's perfect for both sides. Gives Bayley something to do. It helps Roxanne, whenever the time comes for her to get called up to the main roster. Or we have Roxanne Perez attack Bayley on whatever show she's going to be on, because I don't know if she's going to be transferring to Raw or SmackDown. I don't know. This whole transfer system's bollocks. By the way, WWE, since we're on that topic, what the hell are you guys doing moving the Wyatt Six to SmackDown? Like, are you guys like?
Yeah.
I've already given up on the Wyatt Six. I mean, like, do you
Not
want
yet.
do you want like these three to also give up on them? Because that sort of move is going to do that. Who are you going to have them feud against?
There's nobody on SmackDown.
There's nobody on SmackDown, and there's already rumors. No, the Bloodline's rumored to be moved to Raw.
Raw, that's the issue.
2.0 or the original Bloodline?
Yes.
If they go after 2.0, it's no better than anything else they've been doing. Because no one cares about Bloodline 2.0. You can try to force it, but you're going to tell me if they go after Bloodline 2.0, you're going to be like, Wyatt 6 is back.
If
I don't
they
think
go after
so.
2.0, Jacob Fatu's just going to have lunch.
That's what I'm saying. He's just going to eat them all. He's going to kill them.
Yeah,
it's done.
It's going to be terrifying.
Stick a fork in them.
Why couldn't they just have them feud against the Judgment Day? Like, what a waste of time that Final Testament feud was.
I've been saying it for weeks.
I know, we've been saying it for a while. And now you're going to move them to SmackDown when you're going to keep the Judgment Day on Raw? Like, what?
Why couldn't you do this? Why couldn't you have that Finn Balor and Damian Priest thing, but instead of the War Raiders, have the Wyatt Six overtake that feud? And then Damian's like, yo, this is too deep for me. I'm out. And then the Wyatt Six just keeps going after the Judgment Day because they were never after Damian because he made the turn. But they're after Finn and all of those guys. Like, that would have been sick. That would have been, outside of world title and main event, that would have been the most interesting thing Raw had.
Yeah, well, there is one other more interesting thing about Raw, but I'll conclude by saying this. WWE, you need to get your act together with the Wyatt Six. You really do, because I've long given up on them since they started with this Final Testament stuff, which has been just a waste of time. Like, this move to SmackDown doesn't give me any more hope, and especially if you're going to move Oh, please tell me that's not true.
Like, why? What's the point
Why?
of moving them both?
The Final Testament's rumored to be moved to SmackDown now? Are you kidding me?
I didn't see that, but I mean, I'm not on social
Oh
media.
my
that
god.
often.
What a shame. But let's move on to one other topic I want to mention to you. Let's get positive here. I had to mention that Wide Six stuff because when I saw the last Raw episode, I was not happy when I heard that. But I will tell you what I was happy about. The debut of Penta in WWE. I love Penta. He's one of my favorites. I loved him in Lucha Underground. I loved him in TNA. AEW with him and Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix is going to be in WWE once his contract's done. Tony Khan added injury time to Ray Phoenix's contract.
Like it's a soccer match. What are we doing?
No. I understand why he did that. And let's be real. Triple H kind of did the same thing. Vince McMahon did the same thing. You signed a contract. So tough noogies. If you didn't like that, don't sign the contract. But with Penta, I loved his debut. That match with Chad Gable was really good, and Chad Gable deserves better. Another wasted opportunity. He should have defeated Gunther at WrestleMania, not Sami Zayn. That was another missed opportunity, but that match was really good, and I love how Gable sold. I think it was, what was that move he hit? It was like the Canadian driver. I forgot what it was, but it was really, really, really well sold. I loved the match and everything. Well done. I loved it, but the one thing I wasn't a bit tremendous fan of, not a fan of the music. And then again, it's Def Rebel, so hopefully once they're gone, he'll get better music. But besides that, I loved everything about Penta. Loved it. And by the way, his family being in front row and crying.
Unreal. So good. Yeah, I got to be honest, that Penta debut, obviously, I think I'm maybe one of the only ones that's WWE main roster centric. I don't watch much else. I got a lot. I'm too ADHD. I watch a lot of different other stuff all the time. So, but yeah, no, to see him cut that promo, I think the match was fantastic. I don't think that was really surprising to anybody, but to see him ball like that, his first match, that Mexican Destroyer was phenomenal. Chad Gable sold it like his house was getting foreclosed on tomorrow. That was unbelievable.
He deserves so much better. So much better.
Listen, I'm telling you, I think the shit passed him a long time ago, and I think they had a chance to make it right, and they decided not to. But that promo Penta cut, he was genuinely excited to be a WWE superstar. He felt like he had made it to a goal he had been waiting for his entire life. And then he cut a promo in Spanish to people that have been following him since his indie days in Mexico, Lucha Underground, like all this, Hispanic people that follow him and love him, because let's be honest, it's different when, you don't see people that look like you all the time in the ring. And then you see someone that does, and that represents a whole other part of the world. And then they get locked into it. There's like, oh my God, there's someone like us. There's someone representing us in the ring. And that's just a whole other thing that he just brought into this company. And Ray has always been there, right? But to him to cut a promo in Spanish, specifically to those people he know that has been following him for so long. I took Spanish in high school. I didn't get most of it, but I understood the importance of what he did and what that means for pro wrestling. And it's just such a Genesis time for pro wrestling right now. It's appropriate AEW's having a pay-per-view called Genesis, but this is just such a cool time to be a fan.
Yeah. Shout out to his daughter too. Her daughter was emotional. She was so happy to see her dad perform in a WWE ring. That's awesome. And just seeing her cry and all that, I'm like, oh my God, that was
that AEW awesome photo shoot of her in the full gear.
Yes.
him in a wrist lock. Oh, that's adorable.
That was, you could tell Penta is an amazing father.
yes.
You can tell that. I can't wait for Ray Phoenix to join him too. Ray Phoenix would probably be in WWE today if Conan could keep his mouth shut, but you know, Conan's Conan. He's another one, but yeah, I'm happy for Penta. Now the question is, his debut is great. What do they do from here on out? Because I don't want him stashed in the LWO. I do not want to see that.
That'd be the
No.
worst thing for him.
So
No.
the start's great. I just want to know what the journey will be from here on out, because you could have a great beginning, but you could fade away after that. I mean, I'll give you an example. Keith Lee in AEW. And yes, I know Keith Lee did win the AEW Tag Championship. Ever since that first match, it went all the way down because he's done nothing really. And I know he's dealing with health issues, but he had a great start. And yes, he got the Tag Championships, but he's got to really go down. But yeah, that's my view on it. I'm glad for Ray Phoenix. And you could tell that WWE is all in on Ray Phoenix because they had him skip over NXT and right to the main roster. I do think the big L here has to be taken to Dragon Lee. I mean, this just sucks everything out of Dragon Lee now because he joined to be a little different. And now that Ray Phoenix is there, kind of, takes a little bit of the luster out of Dragon Lee. But I don't know. We'll see. I like what they're doing, though, with Penta.
Really quick before we go, Will Bernard comments on Penta before we sign off.
Yeah, for Penta. I like the debut. He's going to be a wonderful wrestler in WWE in years to come. But I said this should be one of WWE's resolution for this year in 2025. Not just for only new wrestlers coming in, but new wrestlers coming up to the main roster themselves. Take your time with them. Don't do too much with them, and put them in storylines that actually make sense. And it doesn't have to be in the title picture.
True.
I was glad to see Penta on Monday Night Raw, even though on Monday, 2 hours before the show, they said, who was Chad Gable going to wrestle? We already knew you.
Oh, God.
Michael Cole actually said it was the worst kept secret in professional wrestling.
Yeah, because you spoiled it the previous week. You spoiled it the previous week, guys. Like, come on. Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? Putting out tweets saying, who's he going to face? Who's he going to be this? Who's this guy? Who's the mystery opponent? You spoiled it last week. What are you doing?
If I could follow Bernard, it's WrestleMania season, you're going to start to call NXT people up. For the first time, can we put them in storylines that make sense and actually better their career and quit calling them up and burying them once they get to the main roster?
Oh, that's Vince McMahon shit. Vince McMahon does that.
Yeah, Vince McMahon does that, not Triple H.
Yeah.
The only thing Vince McMahon is going to be burying is his millions of dollars in his lawyer fees and whatever the payouts are.
Listen, we've almost discussed that ad nauseum. Pretty good show tonight, gentlemen. It was good vibes. We had a lot to talk about. Not that many topics, but we flowed with the conversation. Listen, chat, this is all to you right now. We have a special little thing we got to bring up to you before we go. Little fun thing we have going on. And we, at the Royal Rumble, we're going to have a little giveaway going on. Little giveaway, little WWE t-shirt out of the shop, courtesy of Stadium Rant. You must be subscribed to the channel, and you have to be active in chat on that watch party for the Royal Rumble, which is scheduled for February 1st. Mark your calendars now. A WWE shop t-shirt giveaway. You must be subscribed to the channel. You must be active in chat at the time of the giveaway to be entered. If we call your name and you don't respond to chat, we're going to move on to somebody else. I love you, but slow feet don't eat. And it's going to be a fun time. Stadium Rant's just getting started. The Ringside Boys are just getting started. We started as 3, and now we're a wonderful quartet. we've only just begun, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for the Ringside Boys. Don't forget to follow all of us on social media as well as Stadium Rant. Check out stadiumrant.com for articles on your favorite teams, players, and leagues. And as always, if you're not down with that, we got just 2 words for you.